The owner and editor of the international forecaster Bob Chapman had predicted about 10 years ago that Greece would be one of the first countries to leave the Eurozone. What led him to believe it back then? I spoke to him to find out.
I knew that they were qualifying for the Eurozone and that they were not doing it properly. In other words, they were fudging their books. And Italy was doing this thing. And Germany and France, Holland chose to avoid that and allow them to come in anyway. And I think the basis to that was they wanted to be successful, and they also wanted to do business with Greece and Italy, confined 14-member area.
Many seem to think that this is a Greek problem and that Greece should deal with it on its own. What do you believe? Is this just a Greek problem?
Of course not. It's a problem that the Eurozone should have been never formed in the first place, and Greece and Italy should have never been included. Greece is only one of 19 countries that is in serious financial trouble, and that includes the United States and Great Britain.
Why shouldn't the Eurozone have been formed in the first place?
Because I think that Germany was too powerful to have these lesser members. I mean, they make up almost 40 to 45% of the total GDP in the area, and if you put that together with France, you've jumped up to 70, and so all the others were really residual players. And besides, it was formed too quickly, and the rules in the Maastricht Treaty were that they were supposed to keep their debt at 3% of GDP. They've almost never done that. They said they were going to fine. They've never fined anybody. There's no control at all over what goes on within the Eurozone itself.
The European Union has announced a coordinated Greek bailout plan. They're talking about 20 to 25 billion euros in case Greece needs it. Do you think that this will help calm down market worries over Greek debt?
Absolutely. But it's not going to solve the long-term problem. And it's because Greece isn't the only one. I mean, look at Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Romania, Hungary, Poland, Denmark, and then the PIIGS, which are, Greece included, Portugal, Italy, Ireland, and Spain. I mean, they're all in trouble. So all they're doing is buying time. And I think late next year there's going to be a large meeting, like the Smithsonian meetings of the early 70s, the Plaza Accord, the Louvre Accord of 87, and they're going to get together and they're going to devalue currencies and they're going to default in debt multilaterally. And that's where I think this is all leading to.
So what is your forecast for Greece in the short term?
I think in the short term they can get things together. And as I wrote in tomorrow's issue of the International Forecaster, what the Greek people have to do is stop demonstrating in the streets and get the job done. We don't want demonstrations and violence. It doesn't help anything. Getting, cutting back 30% of the cost of administration and overhead costs of the Greek government is really important. They are out of control, even though others are out of control too. That doesn't mean that they're not. They are. And so they got to put their house in order, and now's the time to do it.
What about Europe? Does it have a future?
Well, I think individually it does, but the biggest mistake that was made in the Eurozone was one interest rate fits all. It was absolute insanity. It just can't work that way. And I wrote about that years ago when they began to do it. And that's what caused the problems in Ireland, Portugal, and Spain. They built real estate, they way overbuilt, and they got themselves in serious financial trouble because they were subjected to low interest rates which were not normal for them. And so I think eventually the euro is going to break up.
Do you believe that Greece should default?
Eventually they won't have to because I think there's going to be a meeting and everybody else is going to default too. But had the rescue not come, and I was the Prime Minister of Greece, I would have gone to bankruptcy. Absolutely. And the people who in Greece and Goldman Sachs who were involved in the illegal activities should be charged criminally for what they've done.
Well, that would need some political will, wouldn't it, on behalf of a government?
Well, you're absolutely correct. And every government is beset with similar problems in their own way. The real problem is the expediter, which is Goldman Sachs. They're the ones that came slinking around and said, well, we'll show you how to fix this, and your books will look fine, when in fact they're not, and that'll qualify you, and that'll keep you going. These were bogus books. They're lying.
The average citizen is being called upon to pay for these debts, though. What should they do?
Under the circumstances, with the bailout package that's been arranged by the European Union, they're just going to have to pay the bills. They have no choice. American citizens in the same boat. I mean, we've got the Treasury and the privately owned Federal Reserve committing the American taxpayer for $23.7 trillion. I mean, do the Greeks really have a problem with only $400 billion? I think they can straighten it out, but they're going to have to pay for it. The elitist has led them astray, but that's not the only government. There's another 50 of them out there that have done the same thing. See, Greece is being used as a scapegoat. I mean, their public debt to GDP at the moment is approximately of the United States. And I think where this is all going to end up is in deflation, along with these meetings I've described to you. And everybody will default and devalue at once. And that's what's going to happen, but it will be followed by a deflationary depression, which will last for a long time. And probably, if you read history, you'll find that there'll be another war to distract people.
At what point in time do you see this happening, Mr. Chapman?
Within the next 2 years.
And when you say a war, are you talking about a world war?
In all probability, yes.
Which will last for how long?
And, of course, the most attractive victim today, due to the propaganda that's been going on, is Iran, of course. And if Iran gets involved with a war with the United States and Israel, I'm sure that Russia and China will get involved in. And so it's going to be a mess.
What are the reasons behind all of this? Why is this happening around the world?
Well, first of all, the European Union was formed, and then the Eurozone was formed, with the intention of the Eurozone spreading throughout and being part of the European Union. And recently, the European Union ramrodded through a constitution which nobody wanted. And it's an effort to form world government. So the reason why these things are happening and Greece is being used as a scapegoat or a poster child for sovereign debt, if you may, is that, as I explained earlier, I think they want to have a meeting where everybody devalues and defaults. And when they have that, they'll have a deflationary depression. And when they have that, they'll have people economically and financially throughout the world on their knees. And at that time, the goal of these internationalists is to have one world government. And that's what they're after. And that's why we're experiencing this. These people are not stupid. This didn't happen by accident. These things are planned years ahead of time.
So you're talking about control.
Absolute, total control. Money is secondary.
And how can people resist?
By educating themselves about the people and why they do what they do in the power centers behind governments. I mean, the Prime Minister of Greece is a member of the Bilderberger Group. They want world government. Ask him, he'll tell you.